I just work here, watching good sense disappear. Simple fixes cause less pain, but here we go again.
Welcome to What Do I Know? I Just Work Here. I'm Jesse Dean. Now, I know at the end of the last episode, I said we were going to continue talking about customers, good customers, bad customers, all that stuff. But honestly, I wanted to change gears a bit. And the good thing about this being my show is I can do that. I've also been working on some changes behind the scenes. I've got a couple of surprises coming later. And honestly, I wanted the next show to feel a little bit more personal, a little more real, and a little less like Project Management 101. Because apparently, I've been told I ramble, and no one really wants to listen to a 30-minute seminar of me talking about change orders. So we're going to change things up a little bit. Today we're going to talk about employees, training, and how employees should be treated. Why good employees are hard to find, why companies keep burning through them, and why so many businesses treat good employees like they're disposable. One thing I hear a lot of is no one wants to work anymore. And honestly, I don't think that's really the problem, because good employees are out there. The real question is, what are you doing with them once you find them? Everyone wants experienced employees, but no one wants to go through the effort to train employees. One of the biggest mistakes companies make when hiring is focusing on employees that already know everything. They're trying to find that unicorn. Now, don't get me wrong, experience matters, but I care a little bit more about attitude and aptitude than I do raw knowledge. If they have the right attitude, they're going to come to work excited to work. And if they have the right aptitude, you can teach them just about anything. Skill can be taught. Process can be taught. Installation of equipment can also be taught. But it's a whole lot harder to teach somebody to want to come to work and to have the aptitude to learn new things. I can teach skill. I can't teach somebody to care. If this makes sense to you, or if you've worked with somebody who had all the knowledge in the world but the attitude of a slug, hit like and subscribe, drop a comment, and follow me around. Now, here's one of the surprises I mentioned earlier.
Are your employees showing signs of burnout, lack of loyalty, or independent thought? At Disposable Employees Incorporated, we understand how frustrating that can be. That's why we specialize in replacing experienced staff with completely untrained people every 6 months. Why waste time developing employees when you can just blame someone else instead? Our revolutionary management system includes
micromanagement,
unclear expectations, no pathway of progression, and managers that haven't worked in the field.
best of all,
If an employee asks for help, training, or support, we immediately remind them.
they are replaceable.
Disposable Employees Incorporated, because retention is expensive and turnover builds character,
Disposable Employees Incorporated.
is not responsible for staffing shortages, emotional damage, or your entire senior staff quitting simultaneously.
Well, there's some quality information right there. Now let's keep this going. If you want to be successful with employees, you need to have a pathway for them to follow, a pathway of progression. What you're looking to do here is have it spelled out exactly what they need to do to get to the next level, what equipment they need, what certifications may be needed, what the timetable generally looks like, the minimum amount of time is they're going to need to invest. You need to guide them. If you have a website, company information, vendor training site, in-house documentation, testing procedures, all of that needs to be outlined from A to Z so that they understand exactly what it takes to get to the next position. And when they finally get there, there should be checks and balances along the ways. Did they meet the minimum time requirement? Did they complete certifications, in-house training? Did they learn how to install equipment? All of these things need to be measurable. Now, there's a couple reasons why you want this spelled out. One is it helps you identify good employees from employees that may not make the cut, because good employees, especially ones that want to make more money in advance, they're going to follow the pathway. If there are checks along the way that need to be completed, they're going to make sure that they get them done. Why? Because you're setting them up for success. And along with setting them up for success, you're showing them that how they can move forward, make more money, and take on more responsibility. What a lot of companies do is they don't provide a pathway at all. So eventually employees start looking at other companies because they want to move up or advance and make a little bit more money. If you have a pathway of progression, now the employee understands if they want to move forward, this is what I need to do. And it's already laid out for them. The other important thing is by the time you move somebody into a new position, they should already be doing portions of the work for that position before they ever get the title. Meaning if you wanted to have somebody help build schedules, before you hand them the responsibility completely, you should discuss the process with them. You should show them. You should have them make schedules and then you approve them. And then when all of that's done, when you actually move them into a position where they're going to be handling that, you're just not throwing them into the fire. They have an understanding and they're going to be successful. Again, you've set them up for success this way. Another important thing a pathway should include is a tool list. If your trade requires tools, and different trades require different tools, employees should know what tools are required, why they're required, what quality level matters. This is important. I have tools that I've used every single day. I invest more in those tools. I have tools that I might use once or twice a year. I don't need to buy the best and shiniest. I can get away with something less expensive. And you also need to let them know what the time frame that you're expecting to get these tools is going to be. Now, I'm not talking about expensive specialty equipment. Things like in our industry or my industry, demolition hammers, large extension ladders, specialty testing equipment, large company-owned tools. Those are provided by the company. And generally what happens is you sign them out, you use them, you bring them back. Same thing with expendables. Drill bits, screws, nuts, bolts, consumables. Those are all provided by the company. You're using them on company jobs. They need to provide all of those stuff. But what I'm talking about is the foundational tools needed for the trade. Those should belong to the employee. Things like screwdrivers, hammers, drills, pliers, basic hand tools. Those become part of mastering your trade. And there's a reason that's important. One, it gives the employee skin in the game. People generally take better care of things they personally invest money into. I've seen technicians use drills like hammers, screwdrivers like punches, and chisels like pry bars when the company's providing them. But when it's their drill, suddenly it doesn't get used as a hammer anymore. Now they have to pay for it, they have to maintain it, and if they break it, that comes out of their pocket. So they take care of it differently. The other thing it does is increase efficiency. Good technicians know where their tools are, how they're organized, what they need to start and finish a job, and how to work efficiently. The faster and more organized they are, the more productive they become. The benefit to this is to the technician, the customer, the company. The entire workflow moves better because now they're not wasting time searching for tools, borrowing equipment, or trying to figure out how they're going to make something work. They've invested in themselves, and honestly, that level of organization becomes part of being a professional. Okay, if you've ever had somebody use a drill like a hammer, like, subscribe, and follow me. Anyways, before I get myself in trouble, let's take a quick pause for the cause.
Tired of training employees? At Unicorn Staffing Solutions, we believe developing people is both expensive and emotionally exhausting. Why create pathways of progression, mentorship programs, or company culture, when you could spend years searching for the perfect employee instead? Our candidates already know everything, own every tool, never ask questions, and somehow still work for entry-level pay. And if they quit from burnout, just replace them and start over again. Because nobody wants to work anymore. Unicorn Staffing Solutions, turning unrealistic expectations into impossible hiring requirements. Just for you.
Now we're back. Hopefully everyone survived that. So now you've hired somebody, you've shown them a pathway, you demonstrated how they can move through the company and make more money. The second thing you've shown them at this point is that you're a leader that cares. You're not telling them to do something, you're showing them how to do it. You're demonstrating that you've done this before, you understand the process, you know what needs to be done, and you're willing to work with them. Communication is important. Also, understand mistakes happen. Now, granted, if mistakes are happening consistently, that's a completely different issue. But everyone makes mistakes. And it's important to identify the mistake, figure out the corrective action, correct it, and then move forward. This is where the difference between managers and leaders really starts showing itself. A manager knows the process. A leader knows the process and knows how to work with the people around them. You can know what the rule book says and still be horrible with people. There are also managers that know exactly what the policy says. Throw them out in the field, they're going to make a complete mess of things. A good leader should be able to work beside the people they're leading. Not that just tell them what to do, but physically show them how to do it. A good leader is going to demonstrate the process, show techniques, explain why something works, then have the employee repeat the process back. And in the beginning, you're going to check in often with them. You're going to make sure that procedures are being followed. You make sure the quality stays where it needs to be. And as the employee gains confidence and consistency, those checks start spreading further apart. Because now they're building mastery and confidence. Now there are going to be times when employees say, this can't be done. And honestly, in my industry, I've heard that a lot. And most of the time, it can be done. So sometimes what's needed is I'll grab my tools, climb the ladder, figure it out. But there's two ways managers handle this situation. Some managers use this as an opportunity to embarrass the employee. Why couldn't you do this? Look at how easy it was. And all they're really accomplishing is making the employee feel small. That destroys confidence. And eventually employees stop wanting to ask questions because they don't want their nose rubbed in a mistake. But a good leader handles it differently. They say, okay, let me see what's going on. They'll evaluate the situation. They'll solve the issue. But after solving it, they teach. They explain what they saw, what technique they used, if there was a tool that helped, or what step may have been missed to help them learn. You should never hold your knowledge over somebody. And you should never hold knowledge back. There are some people that don't want to share knowledge because they want to hold on to it, I guess, as a form of protection, or basically they want to hold the knowledge so that they're more important than they are. That doesn't help when you're trying to train employees. Use your experience to help pull them up. That's what you're there for. When employees know they can come to you without being humiliated, communication changes completely. Now, instead of hiding issues, employees call you sooner. There'll be a situation, hey, I've been fighting with something for about 10 minutes here and I can't figure it out. That's good, because now the problem gets solved faster. Sometimes you can help over the phone, sometimes you can't. But what matters is they trust you enough to call. And even if you're busy, you never make the employee feel like they're a burden. You don't make them feel afraid to communicate with you. If you're in a meeting, say, hey, I'm in a meeting right now. Let me call you back as soon as I'm out. I use a lot of texting, so my guys have always known that if they call and I let them know I'm in a meeting, if it's important, they'll throw me a text, and if I can get them a response, I'll get them a response. If not, I'll call them after I'm done. But you never shut them down. What you want is employees who communicate openly, report problems early, ask questions, and you want them to trust leadership. There's nothing worse than somebody above you calling and asking, what happened? And you know nothing about it. It's always better when you already know what the situation is, already have corrective actions moving, and already have a solution in place. That creates confidence upwards and downwards. Everything we've talked about at this point matters. You've shown employees how to advance, how to make more money, that leadership cares, that communication matters, that mistakes can be corrected, and that they're being supported. Now you've built trust, you built confidence, you built communication, and what happens next is important. You've now built employees that generally don't need to go looking at other companies for employment. It doesn't mean that they're going to stay forever. Some people will always chase $1 more, and that's fine. But now employees understand, if I want to move forward, I already know how. The company already laid out the path for me. And because progression levels are structured properly, now everybody is at the same level, making the same pay range. You don't have one technician making more than another technician at the same level with the same knowledge and the same responsibility. Now payroll is controlled. Standards become controlled. Expectations become controlled. And consistency starts building across the company. Employees also understand something else now. They work for a company that actually gives a crap about them. You've already shown you want them to succeed. You want them trained properly. You're willing to stop and teach them. And you're willing to work with them instead of just standing over them. That matters, because eventually employees stop feeling like random workers and they start feeling like they're part of a team. And honestly, we love teams. People support their teams. Teams support each other. And when culture gets strong enough, employees start helping management identify problems early. Not by micromanaging each other. Micromanagers suck. But by helping. Now employees will let leadership know if somebody needs additional help. You may have somebody that just isn't going to ask for help. So it's nice to have team members that will help them out by making sure they get the support they need. That's teamwork. If somebody is struggling, if somebody's doing excellent, especially if you have senior technicians or senior employees out in the field and they can let you know that a newer employee is just knocking it out of the park, that's important information to have. And if there's a concern developing, better to catch that issue and get it corrected while they're small than letting them get big. This is where the entire system starts paying off. You've now created an environment where people want to work. People want to learn. People work together. People work well with leadership, and employees are growing upward naturally. When opportunities open up inside the company, you already have people prepared to move into those positions. You can promote from within. You don't have to constantly hire from outside the company and bad habits from somewhere else. Already developed people inside your own culture. And what I mean by that is you've already trained these people. You've already supposedly, if you've done it right, have people ready to go into the next position, so you have people that you can promote. And the best part about this, again, is you don't have to retrain these bad habits that come from outside the company. I've seen that happen a lot. What this also helps with is you're not desperate. You're not overpaying to fill positions because you need somebody in that. You've already done the legwork. It's already there. You can move people up. That's a whole other episode that we'll get into on how to structure your team so that you constantly have people just ready to go. And as companies expand, if you have the structure set up right, you can have a whole nother leg from managers to technicians to new people. Spread them off, open up another division, open up another shop, whatever it takes. But if you set it up right, it's all built in. Because levels are standardized, you already know what employees should be able to do what. And the nice thing is when you train people up this way, if you have work that needs to get done, you're not wondering who is qualified to do it. You know that if I needed a panel wired up, that a Tech 3 can handle that. So which one of the Tech 3s are available to go out and do the work? And that consistency matters because now it becomes repeatable. So now who are you hiring? And this is the important question. You're hiring new people into the industry. People you can train, mentor, develop, and bring into the culture you already built. And then this cycle starts all over. Okay, if you work for a company that actually felt like a team, or where it absolutely did not feel like a team, drop it in the comments, like, subscribe, follow, all that happy stuff. All right, one more quick interruption before we wrap things up.
Here at Temporary Fix Solutions, we believe nothing is more permanent than a temporary repair. Why solve the actual issue when you can create a slightly different issue later? Our certified specialists proudly offer electrical tape structural support, zip tie load-bearing systems, and labeling methods based entirely on memory. Every repair is backed by our industry-leading warranty. It worked when I left. Temporary fix solutions, turning tomorrow's emergencies into today's completed work order. Temporary fix solutions assumes no responsibility for smoke, sparks, or the phrase, "That wire wasn't doing anything anyway."
Now, where were we? Now you've hired good people, trained them, mentored them, built trust, built culture, created consistency, reduced turnover, and built a company where people actually want to work. And honestly, that's becoming pretty darn rare these days. Good companies are built by developing people, not by burning them out and replacing them. If you invest in your employees, they'll eventually invest back into the company. And if you build things correctly, eventually the culture starts building itself. If you've ever worked somewhere where they invested in you or somewhere where they treated you like you were disposable, drop a comment. Again, please like, subscribe, and follow. In the next episode, we're going to talk about the difference between managers and leaders, because those are absolutely not the same thing. But what do I know? I just work here.
Watching good sense disappear. Simple fixes cause less